Hi, it's RJ Shay, and I'm here tonight on Tuesday at the Ober Anderson Gallery in Kirkwood, Missouri, where we've just had a fantastic presentation tonight from international sculptor Archie St. Clair. Archie is here from far, far away doing his business. That's only he can do it. It's unbelievable the type of work that he did tonight, and I'm sure glad I don't have to do that. I told Archie he doesn't have to worry about us taking any of his work because what he does is one-of-a-kind type of work. Archie, you're from, I think, your country's its own continent, right?
Well, it's supposed to be an island as well, but I'm from Australia, but right in the middle, Alice Springs.
That's a big island.
Actually, it's nearly the same size as America without Alaska, so you beat us. And you've got more people living in Illinois than the whole of Australia.
You know, Archie is, after watching his presentation tonight, he's a Renaissance man. I can't give you all of the hits of the parade, but let's just say the man can do everything. He's been a rodeo rider. He flew helicopters. He skinned horses. He was a butcher. He had a bakery. He can do bronze sculptures. The man is uncanny with his talent. And tonight he showed us the entire presentation of the beginning and end of this sculpture. And I'm going to let you explain this, Archie. Who is this man and what did he represent?
This is Major Ripley Arnold. He was the father of Fort Worth, Texas. He built Fort Worth in 1849, 6th of June. That's when it was unveiled last year. And so that's who he was.
And how did you get this project? How did this begin?
It was a few years ago. There was no sculpture of the major, of the founder of Fort Worth, and they needed one. And I got to get the job, and, rest is history, basically.
What do you call this small-size sculpture of this?
It's called a maquette.
A maquette.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like a small rendition of what the final was going to look like, correct?
Yes, basically this is a mirror image, basically, well not mirror image, it's the image of him, but he's now 22 foot tall.
22 foot tall.
Yeah.
And this is, what would you call this, a historical sculpture?
Yes, it is. It's because as I explained earlier, which people here don't know, but I have the uniform. I had people model for me in the uniform to make sure it's correct. The year and everything that he wore, just the seams in the pants, the buttons, the sword, the sash. Everything's historic and exactly what he would have been wearing back then.
How long did this project take you from beginning to end?
It took 12 months from the start to the finish, and normally that's about what it takes. So.
And was there a city presentation with ribbon cutting and all that?
Yeah, it was a huge show. They had got a lot to do with the Indians as well because they were there before everybody else. But like they did the groundbreaking there and the blessing of the ground and so forth. We did that early before the sculpture went in, and then we had another ceremony at the sculpture as well. But it was a pretty good show.
How does one go about getting a project like this? It seems like this is absolutely monumental. Sorry, pun intended.
Well, I was pretty lucky on this job. They, come to me. Normally, you put in calls to artists. Like I said earlier, there's 6,000 calls, around about that a year for artists. That include painting, to sculpturing, to photography, to dance, all that sort of stuff. So you just got to do the legwork, get out there, and get your name out and push hard.
Now, you're a rodeo rider and you're flying a helicopter, and tell us what happened there.
Well, I grew up in the middle of Australia, basically on a horse. Traded my horse for a helicopter, flew them for 10 years, but the people who were doing the maintenance on my helicopter actually put motor vehicle parts in my helicopter. So it actually stopped my blades turning, and I was consequently on the edge of the desert basically when it happened, and 17 hours later, I get to hospital. But actually I was... when I pulled myself out of the helicopter, I was actually completely twisted in half. They weren't going to operate on me because the condition I was in wasn't very good, and it come that way. They had to actually heart start me on the operating table. And I always say to people, you got to die first to become famous. And artists, well, I've done that. Let's get on with it.
You didn't think you were going to walk again, correct?
Yeah, well, they told me I'd never walk again, and I spent 3.5 years in a wheelchair. So that was 20 years ago.
Watching the process of this sculpture as it came to life, you did this from your wheelchair all by yourself.
Well, 90% of it, yeah. And what happened, I broke my leg, so, it was hard to get around. And like I said earlier, I have lifts and hoists, and everything I got is on wheels. So, it takes a little bit of time, a little longer, but, you just got to pursue and, get the job done.
An amazing story. It's incredible the hardship that you went through, and yet you still complete these gigantic sculptures.
Well, you need money, but it's not money. It's the love of the job, And I live for it 24/7. It's your life. My whole house is full of sculptures, and what do? Relaxation. I've got a hunk of clay there, and I'm sculpting. You come over there, talk to me. I'll be talking to you, but I'll be sculpting. A little rude, but sometimes I do put it down. But most of the time, I'm sculpting.
Had you not had this accident, would you have ever become a sculptor, do you think?
Oh, no. I'd still be flying, I was having too much fun.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a blessing to the art world that, sorry that it happened, but I'm glad that you did what you're doing right now because it's incredible, just absolutely incredible. And we really appreciate you being here tonight. Your story is much longer than we have time for. Otherwise, some of the stories you told tonight, we needed to have that on film. Maybe we can do that some other time. But thanks for coming tonight, Archie. And thank you for your wife, Lynn, who is very helpful. And this is RJ signing off at the Ober Anderson Gallery. We will see you at our new Artists Guild location in Clayton, on Forsyth in the old Famous and Bar building in August. That's when we'll have our next meeting, and I'm signing off tonight. Thanks for coming.